Hey you guys, it's Britt tonight. We're here to talk for a few minutes about Jojo Siwa. She was recently interacting with a child fan, and I want to tie this back to possibly some of the things that she was shown herself as a child, and is this repeating the cycle? I can't wait to see what this comment section has to say about this, but if you're interested, please keep watching. Alright you guys, so I was sent this reel over on my Instagram, and total side note, I never plug my other social media, but if you want to, you can follow me on Instagram. It's the same username as YouTube, and I post stories every single day. I'm not super consistent at all, in fact, on posting like actual posts, but I'm constantly sharing random stuff on my stories, little videos of Axel. So if you're interested in that, go ahead and follow my Instagram. Obviously no pressure, but I was sent this from one of my Instagram followers. I almost said subscribers, but this was uploaded from the user Boss Baby Brody. And the caption says, "I love this moment, the cutest ever." It has 286,000 likes as of when I was sent it. Jojo Siwa is interacting with a fan. Jojo says, "You're 6, right? Because I'm your biggest fan." So if y'all aren't familiar with Boss Baby Brody, it's a child star. It's a child influencer. This is a child that has basically grown up on social media and had their own following and a lot of people that are parasocially connected, and Jojo had the opportunity to meet this child influencer in person and gave the compliment. "I'm your biggest fan." "Oh, you're only 6 years old? I'm your biggest fan." Obviously, Jojo was trying to make this child feel good and have a good interaction with herself that is a public figure currently as an adult, because as a reminder, kids are not public figures. The reason this bothers me so much is because it crosses into that same type of interaction that Jojo had as a child with the adult Colleen Ballinger. And it really makes me wonder, is Jojo repeating the cycle of, I'm an adult now, so let me interact with young fans and pump them up and say, "I'm your biggest fan," even though you're 6 years old or 10 years old or 12 years old or whatever? Is she repeating the cycle? Is this somebody who learned from somebody like Colleen Ballinger, Chris Ballinger, Jessica Ballinger, Rachel Ballinger, among many other adults that it doesn't even matter? An adult interacting with a child. If you are a celebrity, if you are a YouTuber, if you're an influencer, in my opinion, if you're an adult, you should not be interacting with children. You just shouldn't. I understand that once in a while there's like a meet and greet, or maybe some kind of exchange. I don't know. This, considering who Jojo is and what she was exposed to by specifically the Ballingers, it just made my skin crawl. It really did. And as I've said in some recent videos, keep me accountable. Am I reaching? Is this not that big of a deal? To me, I think that it's an adult that was exploited as a child now hyping up a child that is being exploited on social media. I think one of the things that Jojo seems to not understand, and nobody in her team seems to be educating her on this, is you can't have it both ways. If you're entering this chapter of, oh, I want to make a new genre of music called Gaypop, even though she's not the creator of anything Gaypop. There have been many other much more talented artists that came before JoJo that were doing this and did it much better than JoJo has been doing it.
Music. And they said, what do you mean? And I said, well, it's called Gaypop.
I remember when Jojo Siwa first came out, and my first thought was how incredible it could be. Oh my god, somebody who prominently works in children's entertainment being openly gay, this could open so many doors for the community and do such good work. But part of being young and queer and coming out and joining this community, entering into this space, is learning your history, learning your roots, and knowing where we've come from, and knowing just how much work it has taken to get us where we are today. And to say something as outlandish at the age of fucking 20 as you invented the genre of gay pop is achingly disrespectful. You cannot have invented something that has been going on since long before you were born. You are disrespectful and you need to read a fucking book.
You can't do that and want to be an adult and say, I was a bad girl, I did bad things, and be going on podcasts like Call Her Daddy, which I'm going to touch on in a second. But then still be acting as if you are for the kids. You can't have your cake and eat it too. Either you're going to go through this transformation and you're going to move on to the next chapter, or you're going to stay an adult entertainer that is making strictly content that is for children. And I'll call you out. If you're going to sit there and make content for kids, I will call you out, because I think that it's just such a weird thing to expect and rely on children to click on your videos and pay your bills, essentially. That's a different conversation for another day. But you can't have your cake and eat it too. To touch on the Call Her Daddy podcast quickly, because it is really not worth even 5 minutes of my time or y'all's time. JoJo recently went on the Call Her Daddy podcast. There are clips going absolutely viral right now of JoJo talking about, her experience being a child star and kind of what she is doing right now with music and, all of the things, whatever. What I wish would have been asked in that interview is, let's talk about Colleen Ballinger. Let's talk about the Ballingers' impact on your life, and why are you still willing to stand 10 toes down on defending somebody as inappropriate and proven inappropriate as Colleen. Over the last few months, I think it was 4 months ago now? I don't know. All the days and months kind of blend together. But JoJo went on the Howie Mandel podcast and stood by Colleen and, in fact, called Adam McIntyre a liar.
Are you friends with Colleen Ballinger still?
This is the first time that I've talked about this, so I just want to make sure I say my exact piece that I want to say. The internet can take a lie and run so far with it, so far that it's to the point where you just can't do anything about it. And I've had that happen to me, and I know Colleen very, very, very well, and I think the work that Colleen has done for the internet is incredible. I think her creativity is incredible. Miranda Sings is a character, is a comedian, and I think that it's very hard to be a character where people are also looking at you as you're a real human behind that character. And I think being a comedian is very hard because you were able to do things years ago that were okay. And now that we've grown and we've matured, we've realized that they're not okay. You know what I mean?
How is it for you now being her friend and reading some of what we read? Do you think it's all a lie? Do you think it's have you talked to her?
There have been a lot of people on the internet who have gotten hit with this cancellation. And a lot of them I know, some of them I don't know. And I look at it and I see that this is a sensitive subject. Somebody who is affected by any sort of anything having to do with adults, and I mean, for real, grooming it's a very sensitive thing.
Things that Adam McIntyre came forward with were not embellished, they were not fabricated, and they should have been taken seriously when they were initially introduced to the internet back in 2020. So I get very bothered by people like Jojo, who in 2024 are still saying, poor Colleen, she's amazing, she's an entertainer, how dare anyone try to lie on her, rumor, gossip, tea, whatever. It really grinds my gears. And I don't usually get really kind of upset by things that happen on the internet, but sometimes I do come across things and it just pisses me off. It makes me salty. It's upsetting. It's upsetting to see people like Jojo not only, in my opinion, continue the cycle that she was shown as a child, while simultaneously calling people that were insanely manipulated. I just don't like this rebrand of Jojo. I don't think that it is doing what she wants it to do, but I find it very troubling that she is sitting here talking to a child that has been exploited and made into a child star on social media, to literally sit here and be like, I'm your biggest fan. Oh, you're only 6 years old. Oh, you're a child. That's totally okay. Let me go ahead and pump you up. I find it to be bizarre. This is a bizarro world, and Hollywood has been bizarre for many, many ages, long before I was even born. But it just seems like this cycle continues. It's a rinse and repeat kind of thing. And it's unfortunate. And I don't think that Jojo, in my opinion, to be really frank, I don't think that Jojo Siwa deserves the platform that she has. I don't think that she deserves the amount of attention that she gets. Do I think that she receives some hate that is unwarranted and extremely cruel? Absolutely. That comes with the territory. I've been on the receiving ends of some very, very nasty remarks. I don't like what Jojo is doing current day, and I am always going to talk about it, especially because of her continuing to co-sign and applaud people like Colleen Ballinger in 2024. Get with the program, Jojo. It's time to wake up. It is time to actually rebrand and separate yourself from predatory monsters like Colleen Ballinger and James Charles. Let's put those two at the top of the list. But either way, I have a few things to do this evening. I'm a little bit all over the place, but I want to upload this soon for y'all because I really want to hear in the comments, how do you feel about this? How do you feel about cycles continuing? How do you feel about this interaction? Do you know about Brody? Do you know about Brody and kind of the way that Brody's social media journey has progressed? And how do you feel about this interaction? Am I reaching? Am I right? Am I a little in the middle? It's all good. So sound off down below. For now, if you like the video, please leave a like and a comment. And if you'd like to see more from me in the future, please subscribe. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.